Imagine this. You're at a lively social gathering, the kind where the air buzzes with laughter and the clink of glasses, and you spot her across the room, a woman whose presence draws every eye, her smile a quiet enigma, her gaze sharp and discerning. You feel the pull, the instinct to approach, to impress her with your charm, your success, your carefully curated words, hoping she'll choose you, see you as the man worth her attention. You've done everything right. You've built a stable life. You're kind. You're attentive. But as you take a step toward her, you notice her eyes flicker past you, landing on another man. He hasn't said much, hasn't flaunted anything, yet she's drawn to him, her body subtly turning, her smile softening in a way it never did for you. You freeze, a knot tightening in your chest, a familiar question clawing at you. Why not me? What does he have that I don't? Why does it feel like no matter how hard you try, you're always one step behind in a game you didn't even know you were playing? This is the paradox that haunts you. You've been taught that women choose men based on a logical checklist: money, looks, success, a kind heart, the tangible things you can offer. Society tells you to be the provider, the performer, the man who does everything right to win her over. But what if that's the very thing that makes you invisible? What if the way women choose isn't about what you do, but about what you are? About the silent, instinctive triggers you spark in her body, her subconscious, long before logic even enters the picture? What if attraction isn't a transaction, but a primal pull, a gravitational force you either embody or you don't? You've felt it, haven't you? The frustration of giving everything, your time, your effort, your best self, only to watch her drift towards someone who seems to do so little, yet commands so much. The way you've chased her approval, trying to check all the boxes, only to feel unseen, unchosen, like you're playing a game with rules you don't understand. The way you've poured yourself into being the perfect man, yet still find yourself on the outside, watching her choose someone else. Someone who doesn't seem to try as hard as you do. Why does this keep happening? Why does being the good guy so often leave you unchosen, unnoticed, while the man who seems to care less walks away with her attention? Why does it feel like she's choosing before you even open your mouth? Machiavelli, the master of strategy and perception, understood this game centuries ago. He knew that power, influence, and desire aren't won through logic or effort. They're won through the unspoken, the instinctive, the way you make others feel before they even know why. In a world where women silently choose based on emotional and biological triggers, where attraction is a primal scan of your energy, not your checklist, Machiavelli's insights offer a different path, a way to stop chasing and start commanding, to embody the silent rules that make her choose you without you needing to prove a thing. But why are we so drawn to this trap of overtrying, of playing the wrong game at the cost of our own power? What drives us to chase a choice we can't control, and what does it cost us in the end? Let's dive deeper into the hidden forces at play and uncover the truth behind how women really choose, and how you can shift the game in your favor. You've felt the ache of being overlooked at that social gathering, the sinking realization that your efforts, your charm, your success, your carefully curated persona didn't win her choice, leaving you invisible, while another man effortlessly drew her in. You've been conditioned to believe that women choose based on a logical checklist, that if you just do everything right, if you prove your worth through tangible offerings, she'll pick you. But the hidden problem isn't your effort. It's the belief that attraction is a transaction, something you can earn through logic and action, when in reality, it's a primal, instinctive pull driven by emotional and biological triggers you've been taught to ignore. Let's uncover why you've been trapped in this cycle of overtrying, and what Machiavelli understood about the forces that keep you from commanding the choice you seek. Your psychology is wired to seek approval, but it's also your greatest blind spot. Your brain is built for connection. It's a survival instinct. When you see her, when you feel that pull to impress her, your reward system lights up with dopamine, urging you to chase that fleeting high of being chosen, of being seen as enough. But this wiring sets a trap. The fear of rejection activates your amygdala, driving you to overtry, to prove your worth through endless effort, to check every box you think she wants. Cognitive biases amplify this. The availability heuristic makes you focus on what's visible: money, looks, success, because those are the things society tells you matter. But this blinds you to her deeper instincts. Neuroscience shows that overtrying, those constant gestures, those attempts to do everything right, spikes cortisol, keeping you in a state of stress, eroding your confidence, and making you appear less desirable. Why does trying harder make you feel less chosen? Because your brain is chasing a reward that's out of your control, ignoring the silent triggers that truly move her. Philosophically, this trap echoes Nietzsche's critique of the herd mentality. He argued that society conditions men to conform, to seek approval through external metrics, to be the good man who proves his worth through effort. But this sacrifices their power. You've been taught that a man's value lies in what he can offer: stability, kindness, success. But Nietzsche would call this a weakness, a surrender to the herd's expectations, rather than a creation of your own truth. In The Prince, Machiavelli understood that power comes from perception, not effort, and that fortune is a woman who favors the bold. Not the man who tries hardest, but the man who embodies a presence she can't ignore. When you overtry, when you focus on logic over instinct, you're playing by the herd's rules, not the primal game of attraction. Society doubles down on this conditioning. In a world obsessed with measurable worth, think of the dating apps that reduce you to a profile. The cultural praise for the provider, the pressure to check every box. You're taught that attraction is a logical exchange, that you must outdo, outgive, outperform to be chosen. Aldous Huxley warned in Brave New World of a society that keeps you chasing external validation to avoid facing your own depth. You see it in modern relationships. The man who plans extravagant dates, who never says no, who gives until he's drained, thinking it'll make her choose him. But this isn't choice, it's convenience. A transaction where you trade your power for temporary attention, leaving you open to being overlooked for the man who doesn't play this game. Carl Jung would add a deeper layer. Your need to overtry stems from a disconnection from your shadow, the part of you that knows your worth isn't tied to her choice, the part that craves sovereignty over validation. When you ignore this shadow, you let her instincts choose for her, instincts that scan for energy, not effort, for gravity, not gifts. But what happens when you keep chasing, keep over-trying, keep playing by these logical rules? What happens when you ignore the silent triggers Machiavelli knew could make you undeniable? The consequences are more profound than you might think, and they're already shaping your life in ways you can't ignore. Let's uncover those costs and see why you can't afford to stay in this trap any longer. The unseen consequences. You've been caught in the trap of overtrying, chasing her choice with every calculated move, every gesture of effort, believing that checking all the boxes, success, kindness, stability, will make her choose you, make her see you as the man she can't resist. You've seen how your psychology, societal conditioning, and philosophical illusions have driven you to play this losing game, focusing on logic while ignoring the primal triggers that truly move her. But the unseen consequences of this approach are silently eroding your life, your relationships, and your very sense of self, leaving you further from being chosen than you realize. Let's uncover the hidden costs of this mistake, the toll it's taking on your reality, and why you can't afford to keep playing by these rules. First, consider your relationships. When you overtry, planning those perfect dates, always being available, pouring out your best self to prove your worth, you think you're showing value, making yourself the obvious choice. But you're not. You're signaling neediness, a lack of inherent gravity, and in doing so, you push her away. She might appreciate the effort at first, but over time, your constant giving makes you predictable, safe in a way that kills desire. You felt it, haven't you? The way she grows distant, the more you try, the way you're left chasing harder, only to be met with indifference or outright rejection. Social psychology calls this the paradox of effort. The more you try to prove your worth, the less valuable you seem. Over time, this erodes your ability to form meaningful connections, leaving you stuck in a cycle of unreciprocated effort, feeling more invisible with every attempt to be seen. The damage goes deeper. It strikes at your core identity. Every time you overtry, every time you chase her choice, you chip away at your self-worth. You start to doubt your value, your desirability, your ability to be enough without performing. Cognitive biases like the self-blame bias make you internalize her indifference. You think you're not enough, that you need to do more, be more, give more. But this only deepens the wound. Neurologically, this constant chasing keeps your brain in a state of stress, flooding your system with cortisol, impairing your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for confidence and clarity. You become anxious, insecure, unable to hold your own in her presence. Why does her disinterest hurt so much after you've given everything? Because it's not just her rejection. It's a betrayal of the self you thought you needed to be, a self you've sacrificed in the pursuit of being chosen. On a broader scale, this pattern shapes the world around you. When you live on this treadmill of effort, always trying to prove your worth, you become a pawn in a game where women choose based on instinct, not logic. You're competing with countless others, all vying for her gaze, and your overtrying makes you just another option, not the undeniable force she's wired to choose. In modern dating culture, this perpetuates a cycle of disposability. Men who try too hard are taken for granted, while those who embody quiet gravity, who trigger her primal instincts, stand out. The bystander effect in attraction dynamics plays a role here. When everyone chases, no one commands, allowing women to prioritize the men who seem unattainable. Your overtrying doesn't just hurt you. It fuels a world where true choice is reserved for those who know the silent rules. The stakes are higher than you think. Every moment you spend chasing her choice, overtrying to prove your worth, letting logic override instinct, is a moment you're not becoming the man who naturally commands her attention. You feel it, don't you? The quiet ache of being unseen. The fear that you're meant to be more, but can't break free from this cycle of effort and rejection. If you keep going like this, what will you lose next? Your confidence, your relationships, your very sense of self. There's a way out, a rebellion against this trap, a path to embody the silent rules that make her choose you effortlessly. Let's take that step and discover how to become the man she can't help but choose. You've seen the devastating toll of overtrying, how it's left you unseen, diminished your self-worth, and trapped you in a cycle of rejection, all while pushing her further away instead of sparking the primal pull you crave. You've been playing a game that strips you of power, conditioned to believe that checking all the boxes, giving more, and proving your worth through logic will make her choose you. But here's the rebellion Machiavelli's wisdom urges you to embrace. Stop chasing her choice and start commanding her instinct. The silent rules that make women choose aren't about how much you do. They're about the energy you embody through stillness, mystery, and unshakable self-respect. This radical shift will empower you to break free from the trap of overtrying, to become a man who naturally triggers her desire, leaving her unable to look away. First, cultivate stillness to become her anchor. You've been chasing her choice by trying to match her emotions, to fix her chaos, to prove your worth through effort. But Machiavelli knew that fortune favors the bold, not the man who reacts, but the man who holds his center. Women don't choose based on your softness. They choose a man who makes them feel safe enough to surrender, not control. The next time she spirals, maybe with a sudden mood shift or a test of your patience, don't jump to fix it. Hold your ground, breathe deeply, stay calm, and let your stillness speak. In a social setting, if she throws chaos with a subtle jab or withdrawal, respond with intention, not reaction. Let silence be your strength. Psychologically, this taps into her nervous system's need for safety. Your calm becomes the anchor she craves, the sovereignty she instinctively trusts. Practice this today. When she tests you, pause for 10 seconds, feel your own center, and watch how her energy shifts toward you. Next, preserve mystery to keep her intrigued. You've been conditioned to be an open book, always available, always sharing, always giving her full access to your thoughts and time, thinking it'll secure her choice. But Machiavelli understood that people act on what they believe, and certainty kills desire. Mystery keeps her imagination alive, her instincts engaged. Don't be always reachable. Let her wonder where you are, what you're thinking, who you're with. In a relationship, don't share every thought. Leave some parts of you undefined, slightly out of reach. At that gathering, don't linger too long. Leave at the height of the moment, letting her feel the absence of your presence. Neurologically, this creates a dopamine loop. Her brain craves the uncertainty, making her think about you long after you're gone. You're not playing games. You're reclaiming your gravity, becoming a man she can't fully possess, but can't stop wanting. Finally, embody unshakable self-respect by being willing to walk away. You've been staying, tolerating, chasing even when she crosses your boundaries. Thinking loyalty proves your strength. But Machiavelli knew that the ruler who needs the crown the most is never truly in power. If she disrespects you, if she's flaky, dismissive, or crosses a line you've made clear, pull back quietly, completely, without drama. Don't chase her attention. Let her feel the weight of your absence. In life, don't stay where respect is optional. Choose yourself first, always. This isn't about punishment. It's about protecting your frame, showing that your energy isn't free, that you're a man who values himself too much to beg. Historically, Men like Humphrey Bogart embodied this. His quiet self-respect made him unforgettable, a man women couldn't help but choose. You can do the same, turning every interaction into a testament to your worth, every withdrawal into a moment of your power. This rebellion defies everything you've been taught. Society will push you to give more, to chase harder, to be the perfect man. But every time you choose stillness over chaos, mystery over openness, self-respect over neediness, you grow stronger. You start to feel it. Her gaze lingers, her curiosity deepens, and your presence becomes magnetic. Machiavelli's silent rules aren't about manipulation. They're about embodying the energy that naturally commands her choice, making you a man she can't resist. As we move to the final truth, you'll see how this rebellion isn't just a way to break free. It's a way to redefine attraction, to become the man she instinctively chooses. Are you ready to step fully into that power? You've rebelled against the trap of overtrying, embracing stillness, mystery, and self-respect to command her instinct, shifting the dynamic so her gaze lingers, her curiosity deepens, and your presence becomes the gravitational force she can't resist. You've stopped chasing her choice through logic and effort, choosing instead to embody the silent rules that trigger her primal desire, becoming a man who doesn't beg to be chosen, but naturally draws her in. But here's the ultimate truth Machiavelli's wisdom reveals. Her choice isn't about her at all. It's about you. The man who commands her instinct isn't the one who wins her. It's the one who wins himself, becoming so sovereign, so grounded in his own truth, that his very existence becomes a force she can't ignore, a force that reshapes the dynamic without a single word. This revelation redefines everything, turning your pursuit into power, your presence into magnetism, and your life into a testament to the man you were always meant to be. Machiavelli understood that power stems from perception, not effort, and that fortune is a woman who favors the bold. But the deepest truth is that your real power comes from embodying a sovereignty so complete that her choice becomes inevitable. You've been chasing her decision, trying to be what she wants. But the ultimate truth flips this on its head. The man who triggers her instinct doesn't need her to choose him because he's already chosen himself. Stillness, mystery, self-respect. These traits aren't just tools to attract her. They're reflections of a man who's mastered his own energy, who doesn't need her validation to stand tall because he's already whole. When you become the anchor she surrenders to, the mystery she can't unravel, the man she must earn, you transcend the game of choice. You become the only choice, not because you tried, but because you didn't have to. Philosophically, this truth aligns with Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, the overman, who creates his own values, who transcends societal norms, who doesn't need external approval to define his worth. The pain of being unchosen, the frustration of her indifference, the anxiety of not being enough, it all stems from tying your value to her selection. But when you master yourself, when you know your worth isn't dependent on her gaze, you become unshakable. Carl Jung would add that this mastery comes from integrating your shadow, the part of you that fears rejection, that craves validation, that hides your true power. By facing that shadow, by becoming whole, you radiate an energy that's magnetic, a depth that triggers her instincts without you needing to chase. You don't need to perform for her choice. You embody it. Psychologically, this revelation is transformative. Chasing her choice keeps you in a cycle of stress, flooding your brain with cortisol, eroding your self-esteem with every rejection. But when you master your own energy, you break that cycle. You lower stress, allowing your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for clarity and confidence, to take over. You feel calmer, more grounded, more in control. Studies show that men who cultivate self-sovereignty report higher emotional resilience and stronger relationships because they're no longer at the mercy of her whims. They're at the helm of their own reality. You might find yourself forming deeper connections, not because you need them, but because you choose them, and that choice makes all the difference. This changes how you live. You walk through the world differently now with a quiet certainty, a presence that reshapes every dynamic without you needing to try. You're not the man you were, the one who chased, who overgave, who lived for her approval. You're a man who knows himself, who commands choice through his stillness, his mystery, his unshakable core. Think of someone like Humphrey Bogart, whose quiet sovereignty made women fall without him ever begging for their attention. You can do the same, turning every interaction into a reflection of your power, every glance into a moment of her instinct taking over. Picture this. You're back at that gathering, but now she's the one crossing the room, her eyes locked on you, drawn to the man who doesn't chase, who doesn't need her to shine, because you already do. This is Machiavelli's ultimate truth. True choice comes from within, and when you embody it, she chooses you, not because you sought her, but because you became the man she can't resist. Step into that truth, live it, and let it redefine everything. You've journeyed through the shadows of overtrying, felt the weight of chasing her choice, and uncovered the unseen costs that left you diminished, overlooked, and disconnected from your own power. You've learned Machiavelli's ultimate truth. True choice comes from mastering yourself, embodying stillness, mystery, and self-respect that trigger her primal instincts, drawing her to you without you needing to chase. You're no longer the man who begs to be chosen. You're the man who commands her instinct, a man whose presence alone makes her unable to look away. Start today. Take one small step to embody this power. The next time you're with her, hold your silence for 10 seconds when she tests you. Feel your stillness and watch how her energy shifts toward you. Practice this in every interaction and feel the transformation. Her gaze deepens, her curiosity grows, and your sovereignty becomes undeniable. You've learned to be the man she can't help but choose, not through effort, but through essence. How does it feel to command her instinct without trying? Share in the comments, what's one rule you'll use today, and how did it change the dynamic? Your story could inspire another man to break free from chasing validation. If this resonated with you, hit the like button. It lets us know you want more content like this. Subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss our next dive into philosophy and self-mastery. Share this with a man who's been trying too hard to win her over. He might need this wisdom to become the man she instinctively chooses. The world will keep pushing you to chase, to perform, to prove. But now you know the truth. You don't need to seek her choice. It comes to you when you embody your own power. Step into that sovereignty. Live it, and build a life where her instinct follows. Not because you demanded it, but because you became the man she can't resist. You're not just being chosen, you're commanding it, and the world will never feel the same again.